Alright, so I just thought I'd do a quick video. Basically what I've wanted to replicate was Gomez's video and his setup that he's got. Some of the drawings that he's been doing and setups that he's been doing have gotten me interested back in the asymmetric type coils. And so what I've tried to do is I did a quick drawing from his first video that I saw, and I kind of condensed it all down and made it a bit simpler for me to understand, basically from what he had there and what he was explaining. I found this a bit hard to understand, so I redrew it. That's what I came up with, that's what I was playing around with. Now to me this basically just looks like a jewel thief, but it's being inductively coupled rather than directly coupled to positive like a normal standard jewel thief would be. In this case like this, where the primary and secondary are coupled straight to a positive source, and then a resistor protects the base and allows the switching mechanism through the oscillation. And in this case I just have a diode going through to either back to positive or back to ground. You can switch between the two if you want. And I've got a battery, 2 capacitor banks and 2 LED banks running off of the flyback or induction spike, whatever you want to call it, back to positive, negative as well if you wanted to, or ground. They will have their own different respective effects that you can have a look at. But basically that's what I have done here. That's what you can see with that coil there. That green loop on there is the 15 turns on the primary, secondary, whichever way you want to go it, and there's about 100 turns underneath that of copper magnetic wire that's been put on the ferrite rod. And then underneath that, where you can see the black which runs all the way through and is not shown on here, is basically just this arrangement here, where you have one coil tapped at the center, wound one way and then wound the other way, so that basically you get like Gomes was talking about, the asymmetrical type. Not this one, it's actually cut out of this shot, but there's another drawing he has there. Or if you look at the second video that he came up with today, part 2, if you look at that, he's basically redrawn it a bit better and it looks pretty similar to what I redrew, so that's good. I understood what he was going on about. And he's got 2 of these pickup coils coupled to the resonator here. Now again, to me the resonator doesn't really matter. You could use a standard jewel thief, you can just use this inductive coupling jewel thief type circuit where he's got the ground and all that. No resistor here anymore, sometimes you do. They're all basically just LCR circuits that are self-resonating, and that's what you want. You basically just want that self-resonation and then to resonate something which you can then use to build pickup coils and use those pickup coils to pick up the resonating energy that's around the entire unit. And you can see that it's around the unit from when you have AV plugs. If I can find one, I've got one AV plug here. This is just 3 LEDs basically in an Aviminco AV type plug, and as you can see they all light up. Not sure how well the camera's picking that up on the collector. Wherever you go, you can see that they light up. So that field effect is there that MTech and Gomes talks about and others talk about. And this is a quick redrawing that I did of MTech's setup that he had. This wasn't the final one, I believe. This was a couple of months back when he first started playing around with it. I basically broke it down into its most basic connections so I could start following it a bit easier. And yeah, he's got it similar to what Gomes has here, but in the end I think he has somewhat of arrangement like this with capacitors. He even has a decoupling capacitor there. But yeah, so right now I don't have the asymmetrical coil connected. I'm just testing to see what kind of effects I get with lighting LEDs and doing the capacitors over there. So yeah, it's actually, so far the Jewel Thief is running a lot better than I expected. I didn't think that such a basic, just quick wind would actually work, but it could be because of the actual plate, because there's a stainless steel plate there that's been drilled and the collector is connected to the actual plate. Normally it would act just as a heatsink, but because of that wireless power that we're getting, it's actually doing some other effects as well, which we're translating into actual charge. And you can see the capacitor back there is at about 15.56 volts. The entire thing is running at 5.4 volts, consuming about half a watt, about 100 milliamps. And the battery here is at about 13 volts. It's about 12.8 last night. And that capacitor back there is also slowly getting charged. So there's a bit of charge going through, as you can see by the LEDs that are lit. Now they're not very bright. I would say maybe they're at about 20% of brightness, which would be reasonable for maybe about 20 milliamps going through them or so. So yeah, once I get into the asymmetrical arrangements, which we can see on Gomes's and MTech's drawings. Now I'm pretty sure these are just antenna based pickup rectification. If you know a little bit about antenna theory, which I don't claim to know a lot about, I know a little bit, and I learned it a long time ago. So yeah, this basically just looks like a antenna based full bridge, full signal up down pickup. So yeah, but because it's being local, that's the interesting part. You're basically using the Jewel Thief to create the signal, and you're using this sort of pickup coil to capture that signal and translate it into power. So we'll see what kind of effects that has once I start tapping into it on the actual output on this side. So I just wanted to basically see what would happen if I went to basic Jewel Thief, get numbers on what's happening here, add the asymmetrical coil here, do some pickup and everything from that, and then once I have the data from that, I want to see how it affects the data from here, see if we can compare it, shuffle it, kind of like Tesla used to do back in his old patterns, where he would set up a resonation and he would just shuffle the energy between his devices so that he could run all of them using a single power source. So that was that would be interesting if we could get back to that level of sophistication that he was doing over 100 years ago. But yeah, so far, yeah, just wanted to share that, and thank you to Gomes, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, for the inspiration, because yeah, I kind of left all this behind for a bit, and now his videos have kind of inspired me to replicate. MTech, as far as I can tell, he's not doing anything new. He's just kind of flipping things around. I mean, he even says that it's Laser Saber's looper, but it really isn't. If you look at his version 3 and version 4, which I have on the wall here, basically they look nothing like this. They're not based, it doesn't seem to be based on his on the looper, but if he thinks it is, then okay. There are other people doing very similar things, especially with asymmetrical coils. There's a website that I used to follow, I can't remember what it is now. Chris was the curator there, and he was talking about these sorts of asymmetrical coils, and he was showing people how to use them and all that. So I don't know if MTech is just copying that and flogging it as his own, or if he really thinks that he stumbled on something new that only he has discovered so far. So, but to me, there's nothing new under the sun. It's all the same. We've already figured it all out. It's just a matter of everybody else following along and building it and learning. So yeah, not to throw shade on MTech. I'm sure he's doing what he's doing for whatever reasons he has. He never shows drawings, he sells them. I don't like that. I'm more into free and open source. He's capitalist, so okay. It is what it is. We can still reverse engineer what he's doing based on his videos. So in a way, he's giving it away for free anyways. You just have to put in a little bit of work to look at his videos, listen to what he's saying, and reverse engineer it that way, rather than just having a basic drawing and reverse engineer and replicating it that way. But yeah, like I said, it is what it is. All right, I've rambled on long enough. Hopefully we'll get part 2 to see what kind of effects we get on the asymmetric coil windings.